We're going to jump up to Te Rapa, guys. A couple of races we want to have a look at. And we're going to start in the Join Team Te Akau. Shares available 3-year-old 1200. It's a mouthful. For the 3-year-olds over the 1200 metres. Steve, run us through this, mate.
Yeah, so this is the key lead-up, Thaddeus, for a few weeks' time, I think on the 30th of April, where we see the Cambridge breeders at group level say the majority of these horses will be targeting that particular race on the same track and distance. Cote de Buin holds the core at $4.20. Rocanono on that second line shares it with Meriturable at $4.80 each of two. Rag and Muffin, here's the specking here. Open double figures 10, now trading 8. Sassy Merlot at a $10 price. Windspeed, first up here for Courtney Barnes and Stephen Marsh, $10 also flat. A Funny Girl, $11. Shepherd's Delight, Awkward Gate Barrier 12, has the same quote. A Ri at 13. Mercurial at 14. Last Resort 21. Franak first up for Simon and Katrina Alexander at 41, and Don't Look Ethel, the ranker, at $61. So early lead sits around number 3, Rag a Muffin, 10 into 8, a decent firmer, and that's including a $1,000 bet at the peak price of $10.
It always piques my interest, BP, when you've got a horse like Cote de Buin with Opie Bosson as favourite in a race, and the big money starts coming for Ragamuffin with Naranjan Palmer claiming 3. My ears prick up.
yeah, and so they should. If you're starting to see a money move like that. Again, this is a race where there's some speed. Horses got their eye on the Cambridge breeders in a few weeks' time back here at Te Rapa. Horses returning, horses that brought very good spring form. We've got a couple of horses there that are Group 1 placed, for instance, through their respective Guineas placings. Meritable in 2,000 Guineas second, and Shepherd's Delight a Group 1 placing in the 1,000 Guineas. This field has got it, really. But then you've got to try and work out where are these horses situated, how aggressive are they going to be from their tricky gates. They're looking to get themselves a nice tune-up so they're ready for what will be their sort of autumn second up final, you could say. Cote de Buin 420's got to contend with an outside barrier draw. Look, even in his run last time out at Trentham, he was very courageous because he was caught wide throughout. I know it was the underdog leg, but still he was a runner that covered a lot of extra ground, and he was only just beaten on that occasion. He had a trial to get himself ready. I was really taken by Rocanono with how he won at Ellerslie. He's a horse who bounced out of a maiden win out of Pookie, and then he's really excelled off that. I thought it was a good win from him, and he's trolled up to say that he's in a good spot. And maybe like the open 1,200 metre race at Hawke's Bay, just trying to find a horse who's going to be in that right position. He could be that horse. There looks to be pressure from a lot of different angles here. I thought Last Resort could go forward. He did exactly that when winning 2 starts ago. You've got obviously Rocanono, who's one of those horses, but you've got Sassy Merlot, who's drawn out in barrier number 11, who has shown a torrent of speed in her races and comes back to 1,200 metres. So it just looks to be, again, one of those races where there's speed inside and out. If you'd like the horse that can maybe get to the rail first, or the horse that can be just tucked in behind speed, that could be the key to trying to work this race out as the race shape around a very good 1,200 metre race. But Rocanono is the first horse that sort of grabs me just in behind that speed.
If my memory serves, BP, as well, that they spoke to the stable connections, Dean Williams, around the Pike stable, around this horse Rocanono, and they've got a bit of time from him, haven't they?
Yeah. Look, he's a horse that's just really come on this preparation, and I know that they've got some big plans for him. So, look, it's the right race. It's the right stepping stone, as we said, towards a Cambridge breeders, which all of these 3-year-old sprinting types are using. So, it's about where some of these horses, how ready are they for this race to be winning, as opposed to using it as a nice little chance to have a good blowout before getting themselves ready for the breeders.
There's plenty of form to try and get work through here, Paul, in this race. That's a hot field, isn't it?
It's a very, very hot field. I can't take my eyes off the top of the market, though. Cote de Buin, obviously a Burgundy with a name like that. Beat a number of good ones, including Tavatak, who's gone on to win twice since then. And only just got nutted at Trentham down the chute. It gets a wide draw, but I think, look, if you want someone on a favourite with a wide draw in a 1,200 metre race at Te Rapa, it's probably Opie Bosson. I get the feeling that he'll be able to get across without spending too much and just settle exactly where he wants to.
Of course he will.
So I think we're probably getting the 420 because of that wide draw. The money on the stablemate sort of tweaks my
Just
interest.
slows you down a bit.
It does a wee bit,
Yeah.
but then I just go back to the Te Akau, Opie Bosson. Yeah, it more often than not, and I think it's been a while since Steve's updated us on the sort of return on investment that if you had backed a number of these Te Akau favourites over the season, just how far above how much profit you would have made.
Makes harrowing reading from my perspective, I'd have to say. Anyway.
Yeah, I think they struggle to get the sort of the market right when it comes to Te Akau favourites, but I do like the look of Cote de Bow.
Still a bit of juice in the orange. Steve, look, nice field. Sassy Merlot I want to just quickly talk about. Do I back her again? I've sort of starting to drop off Sassy Merlot. She's let me down a little bit.
She probably has the best CV thus far in black type races, Sassy Merlot. I don't really want to knock her dropping back the trip to 1200. She's had one start over 1200, albeit that was maiden class when winning earlier this season. But if you forget her right-handed form, Ellerslie, where she's hung both occasions, and just look at her left-handed form, she won on this track at rating 65 level when leading, went out to the 600 metre mark 1.4 lengths above par. So we're touching on what BP alluded. This horse is a get-up-go, wants to run right from the opening whistle out of the machines. Then you go third in the Wellington Guineas when leading, went out to the 600 8.7 lengths above par, and then second the Desert Gold, when in the first two and running, went out to the 600 6.4 lengths above par. So you could say the way she's had the audacity to box on and finish third in the Wellington Guineas, second in the Desert Gold when the race shape's been against her, those runs have held a lot of merit. I just think back in trip 1200, even if there is that speed underneath her, she can sustain it. I think Sam Spratt will really suit this horse. We know Sam is very good out of the machine, getting a horse on speed very quickly, and then rating the midsection and then finishing with a nice turn of foot. So I think there's enough ingredients around Sassy Merlot at $10, and I wouldn't be surprised if her SP was single figures on race day.
Okay, you've talked me back into it. I was looking to drop off.
One more time.
One more time to the well. It's a pretty shallow well. BP, look, can you talk us into the double figures here? You've got Shepherd's Delight. I see a bit of money for Mercurial. It's not just a one-horse race here. Not even suggesting that it was, to be fair.
No, it's not. No, and it's a great race for a multiple because you could find yourself backing a horse or chucking in a horse that has got some good form credentials, has been trialling up nicely, and could be north of $20 odd, and just might be able to gain that sweet trip. With Sassy Merlot drawn out with where she is, that could pave the way for Boston to try and follow something over. Cote de Boon's drawn barrier number 13, as you spoke about, Paul, with a wide barrier draw for that horse, with a little bit of speed. It's just a couple in from him. That could pave the way for trying to find that right spot for Cote de Boon. So, and I think that's why we're getting 420, isn't it? Because of his barrier draw. Had this horse drawn a sweeter gate, we would be looking at this horse a lot tighter in the market. Away from some of those other horses, I mean, I don't know if it's the right race for last resort, but it was a horse I was keen to find where he was going to go first up. Now, I did like the horse when it was scratched in a race out at Tauranga. I've just been waiting to find where he's going to go. This might not be the right race to be backing last resort. It's at $21 because it's a very strong field, but they obviously have the belief that he's a horse that can get to a race like the Cambridge Breeders, so they've got to roll the dice, and Clint Isdale has no fear in rolling the dice, up against the company. So I'd just be wary of him and what sort of race he can run for your trifectas and first fours. I'm going to stick with Rocanono at the $4.80, just like with what he's done in his short time frame, and just with where his barrier draw is and what he can do just away from that speed.
Okay. Clint Isdale had a good winner yesterday as well. She went back to back, explosive.
Explosive miss, yeah.
Explosive miss. Yeah, okay.
Do by D before.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's what reminded me of it. Yeah, Pops reminded me of that. So Pops with Rocanono. Paul, where'd you land here?
Cote de Boon.
Just happy with OP13.
I am.
Game over.
Yeah, I love the 420. I understand. Going to have to do something to get across from that wide draw. But OP can do that sort of thing.
Pops makes a good point though with Sassy Merlot. Just tag it over and maybe sit outside leader. Or...
Nice little trail.
Okay.
There we go.
Can you make sense of that ragamuffin money before we move on, Steve? Is it?
Oh, you always got to take note when you've got a syndicated horse from Te Akau that there might be a little bit of cash earlier in the week. I think it will dry up on race day. Just on ratings, his Hastings win rated 2.6 lengths below par for maiden class, and the Matamata win as good as on the eye as it was still 2.3 lengths below par for 65 class. So just on those raw figures, he needs to find around about 3 lengths to measure up to the top 2 or 3 in the market. So you're happy to take a little set at the price, Ragamuffin, who's been well supported, 10 into 8. And just on Rocanono, I thought Sam Weatherly rode this horse a treat at Ellerslie last start. The race leading in had a torrid or a lot of speed. And this horse had been on speed for its first 2 runs. Third up at Ellerslie, he took a more neutral position and finished well along the inner. And there's a change in engagement. Ashvin's aboard Rocanono with Sam Weatherly over in Australia.
All right.
He's aboard his family horse in Mullyston.
Oh, right. Oh, good on him. Yeah, I didn't realise that. Yeah, it's great.